Yo, I was curious. Did you guys donate to BLM?
Oh, fuck that. I was going to say, speaking of nice houses, at this nice mansion and influencer crib, man. Yeah, exactly. But no, I didn't donate to BLM, but I came to a lot of protests, and now I'm disappointed that I went to anything that was associated with Black Lives Matter, man. Look, we had our takes about Black Lives Matter, and people had pushback. They said we're tripping. Y'all don't know anything you're talking about. You guys shouldn't be speaking on Black Lives Matter.
Who sold you guys mics?
They are a great... yeah, who gave you guys microphones to be able to say this on this platform? TikTok should remove you guys. So now...
Ratio.
I'm glad that they said all that, because we're going to have some more to say now.
Yeah,
and this
exactly.
is what we're talking about. Where are the funds going to? What are the things? Where is BLM speaking on things that really are important? Not the
Gucci.
Juicy Smoliettes of the world. not a bunch of bullshit that is irrelevant. Where are they really focused on causes and what's really going on with black people? What's marginalized black people? What's gone on, whether it's systematic, whether it's stuff going on now? Where is that? Where is the influence really going
Something
into?
tangible.
Where are the funds going into? Now let's talk about it.
Speak.
Inside the $6 million mansion BLM reportedly bought with donated funds.
Let's go. Let's clap it up.
There we go.
We
Man,
sound like Republicans not playing.
Who gave
Shit,
us
at this
mics,
point, bro.
man?
No, we're objective. We're objective.
the sprawling $6 million mansion bought by Black Lives Matter in Los Angeles, once hosted by Humphrey Bogart and Marilyn Monroe as house guests, and comes complete with a soundstage, music studio, pool, and 2-bedroom guest house. The 7,400 square foot
Lives
studio.
Matter.
Oh, Studio City. They closed
pulling
bar
up.
with it. Okay.
Hey, this is not what we meant by reparations.
Yeah. The 7,400, Studio City compound in 1930s farmhouse that also boasts 7 bedrooms and 7 bathrooms, according to the real estate listing. Impressively
Damn.
renovated back in the 1930s with all the modern conveniences, the listing said. Marilyn Monroe and Humphrey Bogart were A-listers who stayed as guests in the residence. Oh, that shit looked nice. Okay, definitely in the hills.
So they bought a notable,
Look at the
fancy,
picture.
fucking
Yeah, that's a
historical
nice
house
ass house.
in LA. They didn't even go to like the South or somewhere to buy like a $6 million house.
At least you could bullshit like, we're gonna give kids the tour so they can
Yeah.
aspire for greatness.
No, you bought it in LA, you fuckers, with 7 jacuzzis.
All right, now they're just
Probably
giving me
got a
more
shit deal
details
on it.
about it. Let's see. The stunning mansion was secretly bought by a shell company in October 2020 connected to the embattled Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, which used part of its $90 million donation windfall to purchase the property as a campus for the organization. Property records reviewed the post on Tuesday's show the home was sold for $3.1 million by Diane Pascal, a Los Angeles-based real estate developer who works in nonprofit sector.
Yeah, non-profit organization.
A lot of nonprofits make a lot.
But he a
of
real
money.
estate guy, so he just basically the one that sold it to him.
I'm saying that BLM, aren't they a non-profit organization?
Nonprofits make money though.
They are too, but yeah, I see what you're saying. But I think they were saying he works for he works in the nonprofit sector in a deal that he closed. 3 days after the purchase, however, records show that the property was transferred to a Delaware limited liability company named after the home's address and representing BLM GNF for $5.8 million. No transfer tax was recorded because the LLC representing the nonprofit was tax exempt. The LLC is registered under a Washington, D.C. office for the law firm Perkins Coie, which had set up the complex web for BLM NGF related entities in 2016. The discrepancy between the two eye-popping amounts was not immediately clear. Well, fuck, now I'm kind of curious. Just before closing day, Bose posted a video with the Twitter in which he spoke about being passionate about BLM and how he was trying to convince more conservative members of his church to embrace the group's civil rights cause. The black community has been mistreated. Okay. A bunch of pictures of this shit looking nice. All right. The National Legal and Policy Center, a government watchdog, blasted the purchase of the luxury mansion by the nonprofit and its lack of transparency. Charity cash was used to conduct what appears to be a hugely profitable transaction between the shadowy Delaware LLC and a close associate of the officers of BLM GNF, said Tom Anderson, the director of the Virginia-based... I don't care. Let's see. The watchdog, which filed a complaint against BLM GNF to the IRS last year, said it would also file an amended complaint to the California Attorney General following the shit of the property. Come on, is there anything that they said?
It's because we're powerful.
Oh, let's hear this. The mansion served as the backdrop in a YouTube video recorded last June by 3 BLM leaders, Patrice Coolers, Alicia Garza, and Melina Abdullah, who marked the first anniversary of George Floyd's murder. It's because we're powerful, because we are winning, Kohler said of what she characterized as right-wing media attacks in the now private video. It's because we are threatening the establishment. We're threatening white supremacy.
They sound like mega churches.
You can't threaten. You can't threaten white supremacy by buying
a nice ass crib,
house on white land.
Or you want to threaten white supremacy is help other black people buy land and start owning property like the whites do.
Hey, to play devil's advocate.
Black lives. Go ahead. BLM says the property was acquired in the furtherance of BLM's mission, as well as for other uses. BLM GNF board member Shalomia Bowers told the Post in the statement Monday. The organization always planned to disclose the property of the upcoming 990 due May 15th as part of BLM GNF's ongoing transparency efforts, Bowers' statement continued. BLM GNF has and continues to utilize the space for programming and leadership offsites. The property does not serve as personal residence. Why do you need a $6 million property to do any of the stuff you just said?
Because Black Lives Matter. Specifically, theirs.
Yeah, them three, bro. I really
you know what this sounds like?
What?
This sounds like those preachers that go to those mega churches.
The mega churches?
Yes.
Those fucking mega churches. And like, in the name of God, give me money.
10% of everyone's income will come to this pot to renovations.
God wanted me to have that jet. God wants me to have that Rolls Royce. Like,
and he wants you to have it.
Like, no, not
you.
He
doesn't want you to have it. You need to donate to the church.
I'm the messenger of God. Give me my 10%.
That's what it sounds like. And it sounds like you kind of robbed a lot of black people. I think if people had known that a lot of their funds were going to be, I mean, it's not a huge percentage because it was 90 million in total of funds, but that's over 10% of the fund. It's not over 10%. It's a little under 10% of the funds that were given to you, but that's a big load. If you told people that off rip, I wonder if the donations change. I wonder if people thought that you're more going to be furthering things. And it's also kind of bothersome that they keep talking about it was for this purpose. Tell me how it's for that purpose. It was a bunch of, if you can't give a reason why this is necessary, it's completely ridiculous, bro. Like, it's even the stuff that we've been using it for programming and planning, and why would this make sense that people's money that they gave to you, you're now using it to buy a mansion in Studio City? How is that beneficial to anybody other than you guys? Tell me how it's going to be put into use to better black people, to help all the different things that go on. They like to touch on that shit just to further, like, they'll say, oh, because black people, this is happening, we're fighting against white supremacy, that's why we did this. Give me a why. You're just talking about shit and then saying that's why.
Like,
that
what's
didn't help with anything. In that house? Like, what? Like, are you guys building something in that house? Is it more people that are going to be in it? And then talking about we plan to disclose it. It's 2 years later, bro. This shit came out. Y'all didn't disclose it.
I'm just saying, like I said before, Black Lives do matter, man. And if people are donating to Black Lives Matter, they kind of got what they wanted.
Yeah.
Well, the organization, I guess, but
here's how they're fighting against white supremacy. They're gonna, when you walk out, hella rappers talked about this shit. You live in this nice ass neighborhood.
Showing them the money.
You walk out, all these white people around you, and they're looking mad. And they can look over to the white neighbors and be like, yeah, we got this shit. And like you guys did, we don't spend our own money. We spend other people's money. Entrepreneurship. Yeah, let's get it. They're like, dang, these guys, they're becoming a smarter breed. They're starting to do what we do.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way to justify what they did. Like, even if you had, like, let's say podcasts out of there, if you had local artists going over there painting or something, or you made it a community center, or
you better be housing hella
homeless
kids,
people serving food or some shit like that.
And you wouldn't have done that in Studio City, bro. Exactly. That shit's too far.
You don't pay a $6 million fucking mansion with 7 beds to go do that shit. You could go buy a fucking community center anywhere and do the same thing for way less money.
They gonna have the Inglewood kids take the bus all the way out to
Studio exactly.
City.
Like, you're not making it down in no Studio City, bro. Like, if that was shit even closer to some type of community, that would make more sense. If you tell me, like, we're housing kids here, we damn near everyone. I mean, you could have made it. What's it called? A foster? No, not foster care. What's it called?
A youth organization?
No. What's it called when you say your parents pass, you get put in?
Like an orphanage.
An orphanage. That type of thing.
Maybe,
you could say, what
cool.
if people had nowhere to go and you gave them a place where they could all live, and you have a program where you're orchestrating different shit going on.
You're, stuff, yeah,
and getting them on different plans and getting them going and getting kids out of gang life. But you want to be in a gang? You think this is cool? You've only been on this neighborhood your entire life. Let me take you somewhere. Let me show you what this looks like and show you how you can try to start getting here. In their case, I don't know what you're going to tell them. You got to get a bunch of people to donate. But as far as getting people that could really teach kids this is how you could try to build here. This is how real estate works. This is how property works. This is how you can invest funds. If you stack up to this amount, this is a way to invest it. This is how an FHA loan goes. So if it was that, but it's not, because that's what they would have said.
They didn't advertise it exactly.
Hell no, they just said we're trying to further shit.
They did it under the table.
We were going to tell y'all.
Yeah, some LLCs that are like, this organization bought it from this organization. So you're hiding it pretty much. Like, you wanted it to be hidden.
You don't use a shell corporation if you're not trying to hide that shit. And you ducking out on them taxes.
Exactly. You already have an organization. Your Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
So
y'all have an LLC.
Nonprofit.
Buy some shit. But no, it would have been public as soon as they bought it. And it's 2 years later, we ain't heard shit about it. Who's been in that motherfucker? Who has been in there benefiting?
The three?
The people that live there.
Exactly, bro. You're talking about we've used it for different programming, different things. Show me someone who said, nah, I've been in there. We would have already heard about it because they would have been in that motherfucker. Oh my God. Look at this shit that BLM did for me.
Posts.
Look what they put on for me. Bro, this shit is a joke. It makes BLM look like a joke. And it makes black people look bad, honestly, because so many of them right-wing people, I always get the wings confused. Which is a Republican? Right? R, Republican,
so
right? Now I remember.
You about to say left wing?
I thought you were talking about like the people that are in agreesome with, or agreesome, feel like they're agreeing with BLM.
Republicans. So Republicans is right-wing. You make all of them be like, this is why I don't support Black Lives Matter. They were tearing shit up. They were doing all this stuff. And they're really trying to say they don't fuck with black people. But you are giving them every right to say BLM is a joke. And it's like they get to, instead of just saying I'm inherently racist, they get to say, I don't support BLM. This is what they stand for. And back then, it's like everyone who said shit like that, I'm like, bro, you tripping. Like, you just say you don't fuck with black people. Like during George Floyd, when everyone would, it's like they would say BLM instead of saying I don't fuck with black people. Now it's like there's genuinely so many reasons to be like BLM is a fucking joke.
I mean, this story honestly I think is really sad because I think BLM was one of the last chances that we had as black people to kind of have a union or a group where we had something formal that was set up the correct way to where we would be able to have a voice, right? Because every other group that has been torn apart. Like I'm thinking more so like the Black Panthers, right? Like that's considered a militia group to America because now you have black people standing up against the economy.
There was kind of a militia group at times.
So they were a militia, right?
But I support them though, but them and you
got to be militant at times.
Yeah,
to get what you want, you got to be militant, right?
And at the time though, no much respect, but that's why in their regard, it's like. No, they were on some pride shit though. Them motherfuckers were not taking shit.
But it was sad because
on them.
You had the world watching what was going on in America, where everybody really stopped and had to pay attention to what was going on, and you had people from all walks of life really supporting the movement, which was great. And you know, some people were like, "Oh, fuck you," because y'all wasn't supporting us before, and now you want. So controversy there, right? But it's just kind of sad now because anybody else that decides to come up and do something like that, we're gonna look at Black Lives Matter as like, "Oh no, don't let them do it," because Black Lives Matter was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just going to be like it leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. So it's like, all right, when you weren't government infiltrated or, you know, assassinated and you had a chance to do some shit, this is what you did with it, you know? Mm-hmm. So now I'm thinking like, maybe as black people, we don't need a union or a fucking group or anybody to speak for us or anything like that because it's never worked out.
You can't speak for people, bro. Like, you can't speak for...
But the Jewish community has stuff like that, though. They have, like, groups and people that have foundations and funds for them. Like, they live completely different. Chinese people, completely different. Muslims, completely different. Like, they have, like, such a more tight-knit and I guess, way that they go about business is, like, even, like, a lot of, like, immigrants from Mexico. Like, they come over here, they start a fucking business. Like, they have their shit set up, you know? And it's not really attacked in the same way that, like, any black organization has been attacked. So it's just, like... Damn, like, but even
those people, I feel like those are like people moving together. Even when you talk about like certain immigrants, Hispanics, like bro, some of them, man, the way they hustle, I've heard some really good hustles, bro. Like how they, well, we don't have to get into, but some of them are hella smart. Yeah, when you got all that, but just business cooking up and like pooling funds really well. But even then, that's like groups. It's still not someone speaking for people. Even when we talk about like LGBTQ, it's mad annoying when someone slips up and then they go on the cancel shit and then they want to go and be like, okay, we have now forgiven them. Like we're publicly, bro, it's not how the world works, man. If I say something offensive, it's a matter of all the people that I offended. Mm-hmm. And I can say whatever, I can try to right that wrong, but end of the day, people can still be offended. No one can just speak and be like, we have now forgiven him. We're all okay with it.
Well, let me correct myself. Maybe not speaking for you, but I mean speaking for you on a political stage and on a stage where it's seen nationally, where like you could have a spokesperson go up, I guess, and speak and have a good outlook on the organization, right? Like, or a voice that's inside of those conversations that everybody else is not allowed into.
Yeah.
Like, because you're gonna have certain abilities as a CEO of Black Lives Matter to sit down with some pretty high profile people. So in that regard, speaking for you in a way, not like, oh, they said some crazy shit and now it applies to everybody, because that's like a blanket thing. And of course, take it at face value. You don't really speak for everybody, right? But that's what I mean by like speak for you, I guess. Like somebody who could actually have a voice in something that can get something done, you know, like in a community, versus we're just yelling mad, hey, this is happening, white supremacy, racism. But then you might have somebody else, which a lot of right wing people do, like, but the statistics say this, statistics say that, and oh, but why don't you do this, and like, why don't you do that? And it's like, bro, that doesn't really account for all the the factors that you can't really put into a survey, like, or a test, or like the intangibles, right? Like we know what the fuck is going on. Like we've had that conversation millions of times. But yeah, that part's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think